Welcome to the Hotter Than Health podcast. My name is Eliza Gelman, and in this podcast, I will be bringing resources and stories for those looking to expand and elevate their lives, bringing you provocative interviews and conversations with leaders and innovators within the wellness, health, business, and self-improvement space every week. You will leave every single episode with tools, resources, and tips that you can implement directly into your life. Who doesn't love a good takeaway?
Dairy is probably, I will say, one of the number one allergies where you see a problem in your skin. And someone can come in and say, I'm having this horrible breakout, and I can almost look at them and say, do you drink dairy? And they're like, yep. And I'm like, take it out.
Hello. That was a quick clip from today's podcast guest. We have Katie Daly of the Jade Studio. I'm so excited. We don't typically do full-on intense episodes where we just dive deeply into one topic. And I think that's kind of what we needed with skincare. I know so many people who listen to this podcast, they are working out. Maybe they live in a different climate. Maybe they have dry skin. Maybe they have dark spots. Maybe they are working on the puff bags under their eyes. Everyone is dealing with something. And I just feel like the more you know? So we're going to dive deep into skincare and not only what products we can be using, but how we can be using them, at what times of day, what do we need to be doing for certain types of skin. Also, questions that I really had boiling on the top of my head. I really wanted to know more about the under eye bags, lymphatic drainage, facial massage, how can we extend the life of our Botox, but also what can we be eating and what should we be avoiding in order to make sure that our skin is staying primo. And that's something that I talk to clients a lot about, is whether or not they should be removing certain foods to see if it's causing inflammation, because really that's a lot of the time what is flaring up our skin. It's inflammation, chronic inflammation. So we talk about digestion, we talk about foods to avoid and foods to eat that will help to facilitate cell growth and healthy, beautiful, amazing, regenerative skin. So we'll get into that in just a moment. I have an update. If you follow the Hotter Than Health podcast on Instagram, you will notice that I've been a little quiet on there. Reason being is because 1, social media is not real. 2, life goes on outside of Instagram. Let me give you a quick update. If you're listening to this on the day that it comes out, Thursday, September 16th, you are listening to the proud owner of a new title, not a car, not a home, not a gun. I'm an auntie. I am an aunt. And honestly, if you say, I don't know how people say aunt, it doesn't matter to me. I am a new aunt. My sister gave birth to a beautiful, I say beautiful because she is, and I don't care what the fuck anybody else says. I love her already. I loved her from the moment I knew my sister was pregnant. I haven't seen her. I don't know her name. They are relaxing. I have so much respect for any mom. Of course, I have so much respect for my sister. She is now a mom. She falls into that category. But any mom who not only goes into labor and starts to deal with these intense contractions immediately, and it was like a movie. It's like, the water breaks. Oh my gosh, it's time for contractions. And, the show goes on. I have never seen someone so calm, so purposeful, so productive with her labor. And that's a weird clinical word to say about labor and having birth to a child, but my sister is so fit, and she moved so much throughout her pregnancy, and I really just look up to her, and I just hope I can be an ounce of what she was as a pregnant person. And, she went into it with just so much strength and grace. She didn't complain once. She knew what she wanted. She stayed focused. She focused on her breathing, it's not that she was even saying anything. She was just so in tune with what was going on, and it was so beautiful. I'm so proud of her. Again, I don't know the baby's name yet. She wouldn't tell us. She wouldn't tell me, which is wild. Everyone's like, oh yeah, but Liza knows the name. I don't. I really don't. They didn't even know until about a week ago. They were kind of deciding between a few. So I can't wait. Hopefully you guys will probably know before I will. But I just want to say to all the moms out there, anyone who is pregnant, anyone who is thinking about it, anyone who is trying to get pregnant, anyone who is struggling with it, it is such a beautiful process, and that's exactly what it is. It's a process. Whether your process takes you a month, whether your process takes you years, it's something that being so close to it and thinking about my mom a lot and how I know she would love, never mind, I won't even get into it, but it's been a very beautiful, beautiful week. I'm in Boston right now, and the weather couldn't be more amazing. There's morning light. There are pink balloons. Things are going well. So that's a quick update I thought I would share, and I wanted to make sure everyone knew. Speaking of babies, speaking of hormones, speaking of pregnancy and such, I wanted to make sure I gave you guys a quick info drop on the new showcast, the new... Oh my gosh. Did I have the baby? Did I not sleep for 24 hours? No, I slept a full 8. Sorry, Alexa. But I just can't speak today. That's just the way my body works. Anyways, talking about the show sponsor, Organifi. I recommend Organifi to all of my clients. I travel with their greens powder. I travel with their probiotics. We use their protein powder. They are my absolute favorite supplement company. And what I love about them, not only do they give you a great amount and quantity when you order, but also they give you so many options for any different type of wellness supplement that you're looking for. You can get a pre-workout. You can get protein powder. I like the vanilla. That's my favorite. You can get probiotics. I travel with their greens powder. I am just so impressed by this company. If you have not already listened to the episode that I did with Drew Canoli, he is the founder of Organifi. It was last week's episode. And yep, you probably just heard my phone go off because I'm keeping that shit on loud until I hear more about this baby. But either way, I want you guys to make sure that you are getting all of the benefits that we are from the podcast. So you can check out Organifi, and on my landing page, you get 20% off. I am obsessed with the protein powder. Make sure you guys are checking that out. It is the best protein powder. It is so smooth, plant-based, glyphosate-free, organic, non-GMO, everything you can think of. Incredible. I switched from my old protein powder to this new one because one, you get more bang from your buck. Also, the glyphosate. You cannot be risking something that you're consuming multiple times per week. You can't risk having all those bullshit chemicals in there, right? So make sure you're checking out Organifi. When you're checking out, use the code HTH for 20% off. You can also go to the link in the show notes, and I will have a link there for you with all of my favorite products on the landing page. You use that link and it supports the podcast and it gets you 20% off. Again, that is Organifi. Use the code HTH or click on the link in my bio in my Instagram, both Instagrams at ElizaG_wellness, and just click on plant-based Organifi protein powder. You're going to absolutely love it. Thank you, Organifi, for sponsoring the podcast. Let's get into this episode with Katie Daly. I'm so excited for you guys to hear all about her tips and tricks for skincare. I have immediately been implementing these into my skincare, and I'm not kidding you, the puff bags under my eyes. You might even notice that I'm posting more videos and selfies on my Instagram because I just feel conceited and I feel beautiful and I feel less puffed up, and it's amazing. So if you're dealing with under eye puffy bags under your eyes, if you're dealing with hormonal acne, if you're dealing with any type of acne, roughness, dryness, flaky breakouts, if you're dealing with eczema, if you're dealing with contact dermatitis, this is the episode for you. Or if you work out, or if you sweat, or if you live in humidity, or if you live in a dry climate, this is the shit you need to be listening to. Play it on, play it around the house so that your husband hears it, or your boyfriend hears it, or your friend hears it. And make sure you guys are also following on Instagram. We're going to be doing a giveaway, so follow along if you haven't already at Hotter Than Health podcast. We're going to be doing a giveaway for some of Katie's products, so listen to the end of the episode and we'll give you more details there.
And the funny thing is that so many so many moms these days, like especially with like social media culture, they have all this stuff on about like they only show the like sweet little cute baby moments. And I'm like, I promise you, like 10 minutes before that baby was losing its shit.
But
and
then
there's
you have diarrhea running down your body.
Like cute little babies. And so all these moms are like, what am I doing wrong when it starts happening? And I'm like, well, you're doing nothing wrong. It's just where society is making you think that like motherhood, which is, it's wonderful and it's amazing. And best thing I ever did. But society makes you think that it's this glamorous thing that like you come home and you're just glowing and like your baby's like sleeps through the night immediately. And I'm like, no, I'm wearing a diaper and it hurts to walk and this kid hates me. But it's like
you're like, I have a prolapsed vagina and I like have to go to the hospital every 5 minutes. Well, and I think that that's safe to say because you're like, okay, that's just one subculture on social media.
Yeah.
Moms. And like newborn moms. So that's a subculture within a subculture. But think about all the people who are looking at these filters on social media, people who are looking at these new filters that you can put on that not only change your skin.
They change like the size of your nose. They change like
it changes your cheekbones, your jawline, your eyebrows. It makes you symmetrical. And I'm like,
I have nieces and I have a daughter also. So to me, like my nieces just turned 12. And so
they're in the thick of it.
My niece just turned 11. And so to her, like, she's now like starting to get more into like being on her tablet a little bit more and things like that. But my sister's great about not doing that a bunch. Sure. But it's like, what kind of culture are our kids like growing up? Like
13-year-olds when I was growing up look
so
different.
I'm like, you're getting braces, you're getting the blue eyeshadow, you're getting the butterfly clips, like do your time.
Absolutely. You're getting chokers that like look like barbed wire fence and
those came back a couple of years ago and I was here for it.
I'm down for the chokers, but I also need you guys to also be wearing t-shirts that are one size fit all that shrink into the palm of your hand and then they expand.
I forgot about those.
It's like this weird almost acrylic
I know, but it like shrinks up to be like
it like comes in a pouch and then it expands. I remember because my grandmother and I got matching ones. It was horrible. We'll talk about it later.
I mean, if you're doing the same style as your grandma, she's either really cool or you're.
We also got matching like lingerie nighties, so we have a weird relationship. So we won't talk about it. My pat's amazing. So Katie, okay, what are you seeing a lot within the Charleston community and within, I guess, just a community of a esthetician? What are you seeing people requesting most of, and like what's the trendiest right now?
I mean,
trendiest services.
That's tough because there's so many. There's such a wide range. There's definitely here in Charleston, I think we do a lot of the people are getting. I mean, I think that has a lot to do with like society, social media and all that, but people are really asking for filler a lot sooner, Botox, not filler, and wanting that kind of very unattainable look that we're seeing. And we're starting younger as well. So many people come in and say, I want perfect skin. I want everything completely dewy, fresh, but I want zero blemishes, none of that. But it's
no lines, no dark spots.
No lines, no dark spots. Like I want this like picture perfect, like filtered skin. But the biggest thing is there's such a difference between like clear skin and healthy skin. Healthy skin, I mean, we're all human. I mean, we have our cycles that make our skin act up, diet that makes our skin act up. It's almost impossible to think like I'm never going to get a breakout ever again if I use the right skincare. So I think focusing on healthy skin is going to be kind of my biggest thing, because I think today people really are wanting that filler for kind of helping with that jaw, that more plumped look, kind of that even skin. To me, the reason I think people are going to get more of that look is going to be from using tools and doing something every single day. But most people like the easy effect of just going and getting filler, getting Botox.
Totally.
I have a gua sha that I use every single morning. To me, that's how I get that nice curvature in my jawline, in my cheekbones.
Yeah,
I think that people are wanting that so immediately and not wanting to do the work for it. So I think a lot of people come in with these high expectations of what they are seeing and what they think the result timeline should be.
Totally. And it's also true that we should talk about healthy skin for each person is going to be so different, because I personally have really dry skin. So when it gets really dry, that's when I break out. Yeah. But if it's over moisturized, I also break out. And so you have to find the right balance. Yeah. So what are some things when you're talking to clients and they're saying, okay, I live in a really humid climate. We're in Charleston. It's damp everywhere you go. I feel like climate has so much to do with the, I don't know, elasticity and everything that has to do with your skin. Like I was in Arizona a couple weeks ago, and it's fine for a few days, but like skincare has to change when you go in that dry. I'm a sponge.
There's no humidity.
Zero humidity. So when people are in a climate like Charleston, what are some things that you're seeing that affect the skin in that way?
I mean, here in Charleston, because it is so damp and it is so humid, so people are so much more prone to, sweating a whole lot more, being a lot more congested. But then people are still thinking that I'm going to be using the same skincare year round. So, I mean, in the summertime, it's just so humid. It's, gets in the 90s here, and there's also a lot of sun exposure, but people are still not wanting to do exfoliation because they think like, well, I'm out in the sun, I don't need to be doing that. But it's exfoliating year round is going to be a great way to resurface dead skin cells, help get rid of any dirt surface oils, get rid of any bacteria on the skin. And it also just kind of helps to kind of replenish your skin, which doing anything that's going to be exfoliation, and then SPFs, of course.
Of course.
And I think
we'll talk all about SPFs.
And then we'll get into that. Mm-hmm. But I think the biggest thing is really just focusing on the right balance for you when it comes to your hydration. So for some people, and this is what happens the most often, is that they'll say, my friend tried this product, I liked it, so I got it. And then I'm like, well, what's your friend's skin like? And their skin can be completely different. But so people are so focused on like, this is what my friend told me to use, or like, I saw an ad on Instagram for this. What are your thoughts on this? And it's more like coming into this environment where this time of year, biggest thing is going to be SPF. Hopefully that should be a little hydrating, but light. You want to keep it lighter in the summertime because humidity kind of does all the hydration for you. Unless you're someone who's super dry. I mean, the less hydration you do, the less you're going to have all that excess oil on your skin.
Yeah, fair. And that will like stir up a lot of dirt and stuff like that. Exactly. What are some of your favorite exfoliants?
Ooh.
And if we're okay, like what are your top 2 favorite exfoliants? And then what are some that you would say like don't do this at all? I see all these memes about like the Summer's Eve apricot scrub. Like don't do this.
The St. Ives apricot scrub is the worst thing. I mean, the reason why it's so bad is that it's just this really harsh granule that is just scraping your skin.
Sand.
It's sand. No, it's like almond shells or something disgusting like that. And so and it's just buffing and buffing and buffing, and it's no way to break it down. And so a lot of times with exfoliants, like one of my favorites is the Eminence Strawberry Dermafoliant. It has strawberry, it has lactic acid, so it's great for brightening, it's great for resurfacing, and obviously anything that's resurfacing is also anti-aging. And people got to remember that like anti-aging and brightening really go hand in hand, because lactic is like kind of like the super acid of all acids, I think. But that one, why I like that exfoliator is because it's in a powder form, and you just sprinkle water to it, so it can be a little bit of water and be really, really, really coarse, or you can put a ton of water into it and it's like really, really slippery, or you can mix it in with a cleanser. So for some days, it's great. I like that one because it's someone you could use year round. So in the summertime, when you want it to be a little bit less and you're kind of just not wanting a ton because we're out in the sun, but you want a little bit of exfoliation, you can do that. But then in the winter, when you're super dry and you're like, I need to buff this off, you can do very little water at all.
Yeah.
So I love that one. That's Eminence Strawberry Dermafoliant. I love it. That's a great one. I think another one I really like is the
like for someone who's just starting out.
Someone who's just starting out. I mean, if
it's like a first step, I feel like if exfoliating is that important and you're not doing it actively, like what's a good first stepper?
I mean, I think when it comes to like the most important thing for your skin is making sure that you're having a cleanser. I say exfoliation and then having a good moisturizer, and it's those 3 to start. But with a lot of people, if they're just wanting to start with a cleanser, it's important to also gauge, once again, time of year, your skin. So some days your skin might be a little bit more sensitive, so you want to do something a little bit more gentle when it comes to cleansing. But yet you still want to get rid of all those surface oils, makeup, like just gunk from the outside, like from the environment. But then other days you might something a little bit more if you're having a breakout or your skin's just needing a little bump up, something with a
Yeah.
little bit more acids to it, like something with the salicylic, which is great for, mostly known for being great for acne. But then there's stuff like lactics that are kind of, they work for brightening. They're very active. Lactics are pretty active. So that's something, I have a cleanser that I love that I use a lot called the Rhonda Allison Pumpkin Lactic
Ooh.
Acid. That one's really good. That
Okay.
I have that one at my spa. That's a great one.
We'll send
Not
everyone your way.
shameless plug.
Plug.
But that's a great one because it's really resurfacing. It smells like Thanksgiving. It's so nice.
Hell yeah.
But that's a good one that it's, if you're not wanting that granule, like rough exfoliation, that's a great option.
I have a real question. You mentioned, I think you said salicylic acid,
Yes.
right? So that's really good for acne. And I struggled with acne for, I mean, 10 years, more, like kind of my whole life up until, and for the past maybe 6 months, it's been incredible. Now I have a little bit of a breakout and I'm not concerned about it because I know it'll bounce back and I'm
Yep.
like pumped. But you mentioned it's good for acne. So talk about some of the experiences that you've had with people who are suffering with hormonal acne, because there's kind of only so much skincare you can do. What are some other things that people can be doing along with a good skincare routine that would help to alleviate inflammation in the skin that comes from hormonal acne, which is like around the jawline and around the, jaw strap or the chin strap and the, I guess, upper cheek a little bit? What do you think?
I mean, definitely when it comes to hormonal acne, that's tricky because you definitely want to do skincare, but for a lot of the times when it's hormonal, it's something very internal. So I always recommend that when clients come in and they say, I'm having this horrible acne, I'm saying, well, let's unpack this. So it could be a number of things. It could either be something with your hormones, which I always recommend if you're having issues, especially in that area. Hormone specialists are great. There are definitely differences between hormone specialists and then someone like getting your thyroid check. Very
Totally.
different. But then also a big thing I'm seeing a lot of is that people have crazy diet sensitivities. So
Yes.
it's and that's one thing that I think people don't think enough about. I mean, it could be anything from, you could be allergic to avocados, almonds, bananas, things that are actually good for you and your body loves, that it might not irritate your stomach, but it might come out in your face.
Yeah.
And so I definitely recommend people, if they're having hormonal acne, like let's dive deeper than just surface. Yes, doing good skincare regimens, doing your good cleansing, exfoliation, doing a treatment, doing moisturizers, your masking. All those things are very important, but also figuring out what's going on inside is a big thing. Other
Totally.
than that, I mean, things I'm a big fan of, like I think
Even
changing.
doing like a 3-day food journal or
Yes.
a food journal or honestly, doing a food journal for a full month. If you're thinking about this for months and months and it's bothering you like crazy, like it makes sense to write down what you're eating. And
Oh,
then,
weird. That I broke out 2 days later, but I had eggs 2 days in a row. That
or
could
it
be
could
why.
be something as simple as like I had pizza, which had like a ton of oils and a ton of cheese. Maybe you're like super, super dairy sensitive, that type of thing.
I think people really graze over diet when it comes to their skin a lot. And it's one thing I've noticed also, and I put up a chart recently on my Instagram where it had a picture of their face and it showed all the different parts of the acne on the face. You probably saw that. All the different parts of acne on the face and what it's from. Like for instance, if it's in the temples and in the like in between the eyes, it might be an allergy to alcohol. So if you're excessively
Really?
drinking, or if it's dairy, it's usually in the cheeks and then down like through the jawline area. If it's something with, I mean, stress related, you're usually going to see it in other places. And it's just really wild to see how acne, there's usually a reason why
Yeah.
you're having the problem with it, but it's more of like doing your research of like what's causing it and then what can I be doing? I mean, obviously stress is a huge proponent when it comes to your face, but
Yes.
I know.
I will tell you when I first, so, I was working, that's how I met you. I was working with a fitness studio in Charleston that I still love all the people, but it just wasn't for me anymore. And
That's
I'm
fine.
telling you that leaving that job in combination with removing my IUD, and I'm telling you, like, changing up my workout routine and my stress levels and getting adequate regular sleep, not just adequate, but like regular sleep, my skin, no more hormonal acne. I never suffered with the like forehead or eyes or anything like that, or nose, but definitely chin strap. It was just insane, one after the other. Cystic, I've talked about this before on other episodes.
Hormones,
But when
hormones.
Oh, Cortisol,
Big
cortisol,
time.
cortisol. And it's just, I would wake up and I would have to be on screaming, and it would be dark out for 3 hours while I was still like screaming into a microphone, blaring in this black room with like
I've been
strobe
there. I
lights.
remember.
Yes.
I remember.
And so it would be super, super stressful. And I didn't really change much about my diet, but I knew something had to give. And so when I left that job, my skin completely
Your
calmed
cortisol
down.
levels.
Oh, and I always knew that was a factor, but it was just insane how going into a little bit more low intensity, I was still working out consistently, but like I didn't see a change in my figure or my body or anything. I was still fit, but I changed the tempos basically of my workout and like the timing, and my skin totally changed. So do you see people who are coming in and they're like, it must be dirty because I sweat a lot? But I'm like, well, you sweat a lot because you're doing these high intensity workouts twice a day, you know? Like,
Yeah.
what do you think about that? What
I
do you
mean, I
think about workouts?
definitely think, I mean, it's a mixture. There's definitely a lot of people that will go and work out, then will rinse off their body, but not their face. And then they're sitting in that oil all day long. But it's also on top of that, like, what did you do during that may have triggered your body to have a different result than going in there? I mean, I think that's definitely a huge factor. And I think people don't realize stress is a big thing. Hydration's a huge thing also. I think a lot of people will go and work out and then they won't touch a glass of water for hours afterwards. And it's
They're
like,
my iced coffee has ice in it.
oh,
I'm like, oh, sweet.
I mean, and that's another thing. It's like circling back to like, first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is chug a glass of water. And it's like
regular water? Like what kind of water?
I mean, I do depends. I mean, I definitely have done, room temp is probably the best thing to do, but I mean, but I'm also I'll drink water it's still good in any form, but drinking that before, I have so many people that first thing I do is I wake up, I immediately have coffee, and I'm like, no, please don't do that. Like,
I know.
and that's another big thing. Caffeine for a lot of people is a huge trigger because caffeine also is something that makes your nerves go a little nuts too. It's helpful. It keeps you awake, but it also can get you,
And it also
get you all
it's
worked up.
dehydrating. So it's another,
Exactly.
that's why I genuinely noticed I think also a big part of it was like I didn't need as much coffee because I was getting regular sleep and low intensity. And so all of those things added up to it. But when you are talking about hydration, so not just drinking your water, but do you recommend any type of special water? Are you doing like lemon water? Are you doing special electrolytes? Are you just saying get your water in where you can?
Lemon water is a huge thing. I like to do collagen, which there's a lot of different forms. I kind of do your research on that and kind of see what's the best fit for you.
Yeah.
I'm also a big fan. There's so many other ways to, hydration, and it's just being more mindful of, I found that I got one of those big water jugs a while back that I felt like was helpful for me because almost like made me like, oh, it's 1:00. I better drink my water. But also I realized that it was almost giving me too much hydration, that some days, the first like 2 days I was on it, I got like really sick.
Yeah. Overhydrating.
Because it was overhydration, and it's because I wasn't used to it, but you should have I think the best thing to do is kind of set a goal for yourself. Like I have my Yeti that I carry around that I say to myself, like, I need to fill that up like at least 5 times today.
And you worked up, if you had done that in the beginning, you would have literally you probably would have had like wild diarrhea and felt really sick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the long and short of it is. Yeah. But, okay, so hydration, we talk about that on the podcast all the time. I think it's so fucking important, and for multiple reasons, but I definitely agree. Pace yourself and warm up to it. And if you are one of those people that has maybe a desk job, or if you're in the same space for an extended period of time throughout the day, maybe you're working remote, but like put the giant jug of water on your desk. You don't have to worry about like carrying it with you or trying to have a glass of water in every room. Then it just cups are everywhere. Like it's not helpful. So let's pivot a little bit. When I first reached out to you about the podcast, I was told by my friend Taylor, who had just gone to see you. She showed up and she looked flawless,
glowing,
like, no pores, just ever.
She doesn't really have pores.
I know, it's bullshit.
Rude.
I'm so offended by her skin. And anyway, so she shows up looking like an angel, and she's like, okay, Katie was talking about face fitness, and she was talking about, and I don't even know what she was talking about, but I remember I had a couple glasses of wine, so I voice messaged you, and I was like, we got to talk about face
That was
fitness.
hilarious, by the way.
Katie! so fun. Shout out to Graft for the great wine. But what is facial fitness? What are some things people can be doing at home? Like, what are we doing?
Okay.
Obviously with clean hands.
So clean hands, of course. So biggest thing with face fitness is, I mean, having a good like getting facials and like whatever treatments you might want to get on is awesome. But having that regimen at home is going to be the thing that's going to be the most important. I definitely am a huge fan of, it's probably the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I do my facial regimen. Making sure you're having good cleansing, you're having good exfoliation, serums, moisturizer. I am a big fan of the gua sha tools. I think to me, it's great because it helps with circulation, it helps with lymphatic drainage. Everyone's different. Some people get really puffy after they sleep, or they retain a lot of water, or if they indulge the night before. Some people, it can be salt related. It's many different things, but it's really wanting to, when you're applying all your skincare, wanting to really work with those upward motions and really just helping to flush out your system, just to make sure around your eyes, around your jaw, around your mouth, any areas like that. But I mean, I'm a big fan of that. But I think the biggest thing for people to remember is that you can definitely you need to make sure that your barrier is clean and making sure that it's clean, it's been exfoliated and all that good stuff. I really preach exfoliation because I feel like it's probably like one of the biggest things, but also because if you're putting anything on your skin and if there's stuff blocking it, it's not going to penetrate. You're not going to get anything out of this really great serum that you have.
Yeah.
If it's
like you spend $150 on this. Yeah.
Exactly. But definitely anything like that is going to be great. And also you really want to work on circulation. So one thing I focus on a lot at my place with my services is I always do some type of exfoliation, whether it's dermaplaning or microderm. We'll get into that. But then I always do enzymes, which help with circulation and really help. Circulation is something that not only helps with lymphatic drainage, it helps with collagen production. So it's great for, plumping back up your skin and all that good stuff. And then from there, you're wanting to make sure that you're just doing good facial massage, facial manipulation. I think we don't talk about it enough with facial manipulation, which it can either be through great things like just acupressure massage, lymphatic drainage massage, any tools. I mean, one thing that's really...
You can use your hands too, right?
Yeah, of course you can use your hands. I mean, I think just using your middle and ring fingers and just kind of effleurage strokes upwards, and down your neck, of course, as well. It's really great for that. And I mean, there's so many things you can be doing to just help improve not just the top layer of your skin, the dermis and the layers underneath. The more you get circulation, that's where you're going to get your collagen boosting. And then you got to remember that the more often you do circulation, it's muscle memory. So your skin's gonna be like, oh, I remember this. This is what's going to help plump your skin back up.
Yeah. And I'm assuming that helps also with like fine lines and things like that. So when you are producing that a little more collagen, or you're basically just, giving it a nudge in the right direction. Obviously, diet has so much to do with like the vitamins that you need to help collagen production as well, but then like stimulating it. So that would help with like fine lines around the eyes and around under the eyes and things like that.
Definitely.
And like the smile lines, I feel like I have apples on my face from what I need to start doing this. Truly, we need to do a little video of this next time I come in. We'll do a little IGTV live of something, especially with maybe some lymphatic drainage.
I would love to do. I mean, I think lymphatic drainage is huge because I think that we don't really realize that it's lymphatic drainage. Not only is it getting rid of any swelling in your skin, but it's also helping to fill in those fine lines. So you're right. It's definitely has a lot of benefits beyond just, I mean, yes, it feels awesome. Yes, it's relaxing, but it's the biggest thing is that especially those areas around your eyes, depuffing. And I mean, and your eyes get so puffed up from, I mean, anything from,
looking at a screen all day,
looking at a screen. And also another big thing is like, I've been preaching, if you are working in an office where you have screens all day, blue light glasses, do your research on them, but there's so many good ones out there. And there's even like cheapy ones you can get from like Amazon.
Oh my God. They're all over our house.
But with those, it's that strain that's really what's going to cause those under eye bags, that puffiness, that redness in your eyes, and just using those. And then being sure, I mean, I'm a huge fan of ice rolling. I think one thing that's a really old thing that I think works like a charm is the spoon in the freezer.
I used to do that all the time.
It works, especially if you're having really puffy under eyes. Just put it on there. And then I'm a big fan of, I do a lot of facial manipulation. Like this is, you guys can't see me. I'm doing it for Eliza, but I always do a lot of, if you ever see me in the car, I'm either using a roller or I'm using my fingers to go upwards
Oh, I love that.
on my forehead. And that's just a little like way to stimulate collagen boosting and stimulating your skin cells.
We need to do that together when we're laying down video.
One of my clients the other day, I was talking to her about, I was gouacheing her face and she's like, oh, I saw someone in the car yesterday doing this. And I was like, was it me? And she was like, actually, it might have been.
Honestly,
I said, if you see me in the car, I'm probably rolling.
You probably rolling. So I feel like you like black out when you do it and you just don't even realize you're doing it.
I don't even realize I do it anymore. I think that's another thing. If I'm hand massages, anything like that, I kind of start doing it without even noticing. My husband will be sitting on the couch, me and my husband, and all of a sudden I'm like massaging his hands and he's like, oh, thanks. And I'm like, oh, for what?
You're like, also my turn.
Thanks, my turn now.
So with the lymphatic drainage and things like that, I also want to talk a little bit about Botox. People, like we know, are starting earlier and earlier, which I know as a health professional, I don't genuinely know a ton about the long-term side effects of Botox, but I also know that I drink alcohol and I am going to pick my burdens. So I'd rather not have these filing cabinets on my forehead and get a little Botox, and that's just fine. So talk to me about Botox. What are you seeing? Like, are people doing a lot of it? Are people doing too much of it? Are there side effects? How do we extend the life of our Botox, of our fillers, whatever?
I mean, definitely with Botox, I mean, you look great. It can't be beneficial. But I think I'm seeing it for a lot of people is that they get it done, but then they're not doing any of that home care to go with it. So they're just, every 3 to 4 months, they're just going and getting it done. But then they're going home and using like some generic skincare, like cleanser, moisturizer, and that's it. They're like, oh, I don't need it. But the thing is, especially when it comes to connective tissue with any of those fine lines, the more you do work on your skin, the longer that's going to last. So having that healthy skin tissue is going to make it last even longer. So getting services in between, I mean, I'm a big fan of enzymes because I feel like it's nice and spicy. It's good for circulation, kind of gets your skin all pinked up, and it kind of helps to plump that back up. But the longer you do that, the longer your Botox is going to last. And then just doing things like, I love microcurrent. That's another really good one. They have microcurrent machines you can all obviously do in facials, but then even like the New Face that you can buy at the store. That's a great way just to promote more collagen production.
What is New Face?
So it's a microcurrent machine that emits electric current, has these 2 little balls, and there's a lot of other brands that are kind of very similar, but the whole concept is that you're going from the inside all the way out and then going down into your lymphatic system. So like the inside
of your eye towards your nose to the outside under your eye.
And then you're going 1, 2, 3. And what it's doing is just stimulating those skin cells, stimulating that collagen production. So it's helping to plump back up. Mm-hmm. It's scientifically tested that it will longer your Botox getting that done. So instead of having to get it done every, let's say 4 months, you're getting it done every 6 months because you're doing something to help plump your skin back up.
I love that.
So it's doing that good muscle memory. So I mean, and
when I get puffy, I am puffy as fuck. So for anyone who's puffy, I want to talk about lymphatic drainage a little bit more. So we have lymph nodes in a lot of parts of our bodies, but the lymph system can't move on its own. So it needs
needs to be pushed.
It needs to be pushed. Like, it doesn't have a pump of its own, basically. So think of a bike pump. It works and it's amazing and it's important and it gets air to you, but it definitely can drain things through, but it needs to be pressed. It needs to be moved. So that's why walking is really great for depuffing and things like that. So with people who are retaining, like if you saw someone on the side of the road who has puffy under eyes and all they had was their fingers, so the things that you would do to eliminate some puff, what would that be? Like, just some things we could do like now.
I mean, definitely, using ring fingers. I mean, when it comes to stuff like, especially around your eyes, ring fingers, they have the least amount of weight, by the way. So that's why you always see people using their ring fingers for something. But it's even doing a little taps right in the very center and kind of working your way out. And I really like doing things like this. So starting from when you do anything when it comes to your eyes, think about going around the way of your eyebrow. So you're going to go.
Okay, so like smooth.
So you would never
eyebrow.
go like this
so
and like push up your eyebrow.
Okay.
So you smooth out your eyebrow and go around. So you're going to go through there.
Okay.
and just doing things like that.
I'm also wearing a hat because my hair looks god awful. So
I feel like we should really do a video on this.
We'll do a video.
But you're circling around your eye. That right there is going to help it's going to help stimulate that circulation. So when you think about it, you have your lymphatic system. You're going to want to go at the top of your ear, bottom of your ear, behind, and down.
Okay. So like when I'm just chilling watching TV with my blue light glasses, and I can just ice roll down, or
like honestly, if I tell you that like people need to be doing one thing for lymphatic drainage, it's like some type of roller or a gua sha. I have the little spoon also, which is a little bit heavier, but anything like that that's just going to be rolling out, and you could honestly just roll from, I'd say, your bridge out and go back and forth right there, and then take it down past your ear down.
I feel like people could be doing that as their morning coffee routine. You know what I mean? Like while they're drinking
I do it as my morning commute routine.
Fair. Oh yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't have to be challenging. Okay, I have a question for you. I have a situation. So a lot of these people, oh my God, you have a whole little baggie of your tools.
I have, like, here we go.
See, I love it. It's beautiful.
And then we're done. I got a little toner I can do in here. I have my lip serum.
Every girl needs this bag. So let me just give you a situation here. A lot of people who listen to this podcast also work out. A lot of people like to work out in the mornings. A lot of people work out at night. It's rare that before someone works out at night, they're like taking off their makeup and they're doing their thing. They're not like they're sweating in their makeup. So I have two situations for you. What would you say to someone who works out at night? Would you say that they should, or at night as in after work, should they take off their makeup before they work out, before they get sweaty and like are rubbing towels on their face? What do you think about that?
I mean, honestly, the best thing would be to do is if you have access to being able to fully wash your face, great. But I think for the most part, I've seen a lot of women that will come in, they'll have like a makeup wipe, which I think are like they're the grossest things ever. That doing chemicals. A makeup wipe, you're just like halfway wiping everything off your face and then you're just like caking it back on. Honestly, I think that just going in there as you are and then making sure you're having a solid regimen when you leave is way more beneficial than doing any kind of prep work beforehand.
Okay, so keep it simple. Work out with your fake lashes and then afterwards, do your
and then just be sure that you're doing the whole regimen when you're done. Because that's the biggest thing where people will just work out and they'll shower, but they'll shower, but they won't do anything to their face. Like, and I'm a morning workout person, so I will wake up, I'll do my morning routine, and then I like family stuff, whatever. Then I usually go work out after I drop my daughter off. But then when I come home and shower, I'm doing another cleanse again on my face.
Okay, I want to talk about that. So for the morning, I do feel like it's maybe a 70-30. 30 people, 30% evening, 70% early to midday. So I hear a lot that if you're going to do a nice nighttime routine with your serums and your face wash and your cleansers and whatever, all your effort at night before you go to bed, then you don't want to wash that off in the morning. So I feel like some people I've heard won't do a face wash in the morning. They'll just do like a light cleanse maybe, and they won't do a full kit and caboodle. So you think still do your full on skincare as soon as you wake up and then work out and then do it again?
I mean, that has a lot to do with like your timing. If you're someone if you're like a 7 a.m.er, I would say, if you're a 7 a.m.er workout girl, I'd say splash some water on your face, put some moisturizer, SPF on, go and do it, come back, and then do your full regimen. And biggest thing is like make sure you're always doing SPF. But for me, I'm someone who usually doesn't work out until somewhere between like 9 and noon. So to me, I do my regimen, but then I come home, and then I'll do my cleanse, and then I'll do not my full regimen again, but I'll do like my cleanser, then I'll do like my face oil, and then SPF again.
Okay.
And then in the evening, if you just come home, you can just shower and get yourself ready for bed at that point.
Is there a big no-no in skincare? Like, what is your number one no-no other than not wear SPF?
I mean, when it comes to big no-no in skincare, it's like, as long as you're washing your face.
Yeah. Just keep it clean.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is like washing your face, not sleeping in makeup. I think that's a lot of people's thing that they're like, oh, it's fine. Like, we're all human, but it's.
What about sleeping on your face? I used to sleep
Okay, so the biggest thing,
Dracula.
Sleeping on your face. One thing I'm really big into people, because obviously you toss and turn. I've really been supporting this whole idea of the silk pillowcases.
Silk pillowcases, absolutely.
Silk pillowcases are my favorite thing. With that one, not only is it they can't harbor bacteria. Well, it's difficult to harbor bacteria, and it's also locking hydration in. So a lot of times you'll realize that if you have like just like a regular like cotton pillowcase, let's say, and then you have this beautiful dewy skin leaving the bathroom, ready to get in bed. Then you wake up and your skin's dry. It's because it's all on your pillowcase. But things like the satin pillowcases, it helps lock in all that moisture. So honestly, like for the most part, a lot of us I toss and turn throughout the night. Sometimes I wake up and I'm on my stomach. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, halfway across the bed in the opposite direction. And it's like, I think the biggest thing is changing, like when it comes to stuff like that, like changing your pillowcases, making sure your phone's clean, like washing your hands. Like the amount of times that people will come in and say, oh, I have a breakout on my chin because I always rest my hand on my face when I'm working. And I'm like, well,
let's not.
That's gross.
Yeah. Good point.
But I think people like one of the biggest things is like their cell phones. I think we don't like, how did you clean your cell phone today?
I mean, it came to me into the bathroom and I haven't cleaned it ever. I don't know, ever.
But it's definitely like things like that is like things you can be mindful of.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm always on speakerphone. I'm never on the phone.
No.
I just.
But also things like, but you're also touching.
True. And then I touch my skin on my face because I'm like always sweating. So I wipe things off. And then, trust me, this podcast is for me. Like this is for me. I need this. Well, okay. So let's pivot a little bit. Obviously a health podcast. Want to talk about, food, skin, a little bit more like that. Are there, I know that a lot of people that I work with, if they're like really struggling with skin, then that's just one of the byproducts of something that they're struggling with typically. Will get rid of dairy. So what do you think about dairy? Personally.
I'm not a big dairy person. I definitely will say every once in a while, like ice cream here or there, or like cheese. I love cheese, but like my daily, like I just find a perfect example is my daughter. She is 18 months. So she was doing her milk and everything. And we were realizing that she was having this crazy dermatitis around her mouth. And I'm like, nothing's new and nothing's changed, but it just kind of shifted when she started doing like when she started drinking more milk instead of just, when she made that transition from breastfeeding and formula into milk.
Yeah.
So as soon as we noticed that, we kind of started thinking of like, oh, maybe she's having dermatitis. We started trying all this like topical stuff for it. And in reality, we took out dairy and started giving her oat milk and it cleaned up.
Oh, good to know. Because I know that so many kids, because they can't communicate like how they're feeling. And then
you see them with the drool mouth and you kind of wonder, but it's little things like that. Dairy is probably, I will say, one of the number one allergies where you see a problem in your skin. And someone can come in and say, I'm having this horrible breakout, and I can almost look at them and say, do you drink dairy? And they're like, yep. And I'm like, take it out.
They're like, no, I don't put any milk in my coffee.
And they're like, oh, but I love cheese and I love yogurt. And I'm just like, it's
all the same.
So do I. But it's something that and this perfect example, my husband, I've always said forever that I thought he had an dairy allergy, but he's like, I love ice cream. I love this. Like, I'm not giving it up. And then when we did our fitness journey together, around the time when I started working out after having my daughter, I kind of was wanting to do it together. So we were kind of looking at things that we could eliminate. And he's always had like GI issues. He's always had like psoriasis on his feet. And it's always been an issue that I've always kind of nicely hinted for years. Like, I think he might have a dairy issue. I love my husband, but he was a little overweight at the time. And he cuts out dairy. We change everything to oat milk or like anything that's we're mostly oat because I'll do like almond, whatever. But we do that and he loses 30 pounds in 2 months.
I'm telling you.
And his feet, insane. Where it was like psoriasis and flaky, and his feet completely cleared up.
Now it's like only for his feet.
It's wild. Wow. And it's something I kind of knew, but then I was like, told you.
So what does he not do dairy at all anymore?
So we're an oat milk family. So we do oat milk, and because we have a daughter, so we definitely, she loves yogurt and like she still has her bottles, but we do we're oat milk, or we'll do almond, and we have like our almond. I love coffee. I love coffee creamer, and like that's one thing I was noticing.
It's like an easy substitute. There are
Yeah,
so
it's
many
so
simple
easy.
substitutes.
And so like,
I mean, for people who have the resources to know about that kind of thing,
yeah,
for sure. Amazing.
yes,
And
love it.
I just like to make sure that it's out there from someone who, even if you don't have a nutrition background, it's still one of the simplest changes you can make. So for your GI tract, so for your digestion, for your skin, because if digestion is off, chances are skin's probably going to be dull or
Yeah.
breaking out.
And that was another thing. He was having a lot of puffiness around his eyes. That's another thing that cleared up because it was something that he had had this allergy to forever. His brother's the same way. His brother has the same issue with like all the same stuff. And I'm like, I think both of you boys should just get off dairy and see what happens.
So what do you think my problem is? Like, why do I have this puff all the time? I genuinely, it's one of my biggest insecurities, and I feel very, very grateful that that's one of my insecurities right now because I worked so hard and long on my skin that I like couldn't look people in the eye type of situation, and now I'm just worried about these like puff monsters under my eyeballs, and I just feel like it's so I genuinely can feel it. I can feel the puff under my eyes, but I get great sleep. I only had like half a cup of coffee. I'm super hydrated. Like I am the most hydrated bitch you will ever meet. But not too hydrated. And I don't eat dairy, I don't eat gluten, and I just don't know what the deal is. Is this genetic?
I mean, definitely for a lot of people, I think the biggest answer is some type of facial manipulation. So, I mean, and ice rolling's huge. I mean,
Maybe I just need to ice roll for like 6 months.
I would say do a facial manipulation and start doing it. It's something you can do morning and night. I love just to do it in the morning when all my good oils are on and just kind of do the whole manipulation. You can also do it in the evening as well. I'll bring you a couple of things.
Okay, I need you. Thank you. I need to like.
But
be,
I think the
pinched.
biggest thing that people don't realize is that facial manipulation is huge, especially if you have swelling. And it's something that sometimes it's diet related and sometimes it's just something with the structure of your skin that it's something that you can start easy transition. And I see it a lot with like different people that don't get a lot of circulation to their face. And it's your whole body's getting circulation, but like, are we doing anything on the face as well?
What is one thing for someone who has dry skin, one thing for someone who has oily skin, and one for combination skin? Like if they get a facial or if they're just looking for a product, what is like a small, quick piece of easy digestible advice for someone with dry skin struggling, oily skin, and combination skin?
Okay, so definitely one of my favorite. I love hyaluronic acid. I think that's someone you could definitely. It's great for dry skin because not only is it super duper duper hydrating, it's also great for plumping, so you're getting the added benefit as well. That one, you can definitely find that in creams and serums. You can even find it in some cleansers. I have a cleanser at my place. that has it in there.
Okay, and we'll put all of Katie's information in the show notes so that people can find you. So dry skin, hyaluronic acid.
I mean, hyaluronic acid is something that I think beneficial for normal skin types as well. You don't necessarily have to have dry skin for it to be beneficial, but I definitely would, if you're oilier, I would kind of steer away from that one because it can be a little bit too replenishing for some people. So it can almost be like give you excess oil if you're an oilier skin person.
So what would you do if you were an oily skin person?
I mean, oilier skin person, your best thing is definitely going to be something like niacinamide, which is great for helping with oil production. Once again, the biggest thing is exfoliation is great. I think people really overlook toners a lot as well, which toners are great for. We didn't even
talk about toners.
So toners are just
changed
great
my life.
for, they help reduce oil production, help reduce the appearance of your pores, because another fun fact is that you can actually never change the size of your pore. You can change
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, you can change the appearance of it, or the biggest thing with your pores is that they're usually, if you can see them, it's because they're clogged. So what do you do with that? You exfoliate. And then things like toners are great for replenishing your skin. They're great for helping create that barrier, help for balancing your skin's pH. So once again, helping so you're not going to be excessively sweating or oil production, and kind of helping to make that barrier for you.
That is so good to know because I've actually noticed my skin sweats a tiny bit less after I started I use this like LMS apricot toner, and it's changed my life. Good. My skin tone got more even, everything. And then what about something for combination skin?
I mean, I'm a huge fan of, I love vitamin C's. I think vitamin C's are another one. That's another one that's kind of universal, but you're kind of wanting to look at what that main ingredient. Vitamin C is not only are they great for brightening, they're great for anti-aging, they're great for hydration, but they're also just good for really replenishing your skin. I mean, ferulic acid is great as well. It really, there's
so much.
There's so much. I mean, that's just such a loaded question.
I know. I just figured I'd
I think that,
yeah,
that's such a loaded question. I mean, combination skin, they would probably do great with anything that has like a lactic in it also. Lactic's really going to be good for oil production, but also it's great for brightening. So it's kind of one of those you can kind of do across the board.
So you think, and this is just my personal selfish question, if I'm going to do makeup at night and I know, like, should I do my full face routine before I put on makeup?
No.
Oh, no. Okay. No, absolutely not.
I mean, definitely you want to do, I would say when it comes to if you're
like going out to the clubs.
Like you came home from work and you're going to go out with Jake for dinner. So what you're going to probably want to do is I would say tone your face, primer with an SPF, and then do kind of whatever makeup you want to do. And then I always like to do a toner at the very end, like a setting spray that kind of gives you that nice dewy look.
Oh.
And then when you get home, please do everything.
Okay.
Biggest thing for evening is I'll just give you a little evening regimen that I just, when it comes to daytimes, you think about vitamin C, you always want it for the daytime. Think about it as like your orange juice. Do you drink orange juice at night? You drink it in the morning. So that's kind of a good way to think about that. When it comes to evening, I always like to do a double cleanse. So I always do an oil cleanser first. Oil cleansers are great. And a lot of people think, oh, I have oily skin, I shouldn't do an oil cleanser. But actually, in reality, the whole idea behind oil cleansers is that it's oil attracts oil. So excess oil, it gets taken away. So your natural oils are still going to be there. It's not going to make you produce more. It's just getting rid of any of those excess oils that are right there. But oil cleansers are also great for getting rid of makeup or great for,
that's what
oil cleansers, I like to really massage my eyelashes. If I had lipstick on, I really work really well around my lips. And then I always get a lot of like makeup right in between my nose, like right there on that base of my nose. So working the oil cleanser in really good. And then you can either layer another cleanser on top of it, which is what I like to do, is I like to rinse that off really quick. Not rinse it all off, but rinse it off and then put another cleanser on top of that. Usually something nice and foamy, because the biggest idea is you're using the oil cleanser to get rid of any surface oils or any makeup, and then the other cleanser is to actually clean your face, to actually get into your pores and clear everything out.
That's what I do with my hair. I have to like froth it up and then I have to like clean it first and then I froth it up. It gets like extra frothy on the second wash. It's weird. Anyways.
Nice and foamy. But then I'm going to do that toner again. Usually I'll do kind of like a good antioxidant. I have a great one that I really like. The Age Smart from Dermalogica is great for evening time.
I like Dermalogica.
I mean, that's a great brand that I don't use it in service, but it's a great accessible product that anyone can get. For some people, they don't have the option, they don't have the time or budget to be able to go get facials every single month, but there's also like great products that you can go get that kind of still give you those good results. That's a great brand. I will usually do a toner and then eye cream once again. In the evenings, I usually will do something super hydrating on my eyes. Like the more hydration, the better. That's going to help with, any dryness, help with depuffing and really coat your eyes. Mm-hmm. I mean, some people, like one of the oldest things ever, people loved, I don't, but because I just have something that I like, but people like to do like Vaseline around their eyes.
Yeah.
Because it kind of helps to keep it's a barrier, keeps it super hydrated. Sometimes I will do a retinol. I don't do it every single night. And I kind of, like, if I know I'm going to be, like, going out in the sun a lot that week, I will kind of gauge off. Retinols can also be great for spot treatments as well.
Oh, I didn't even think about that as a spot treatment.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh, definitely. And another big thing, just side note on retinols, is that a lot of people will come to me and say, oh, I don't like retinols. It made my skin break out. It made me super dry. I don't like it. The biggest thing with retinols is that it's, like, it needs to be introduced properly. So,
I fucked up. I looked like
you just slathered it all on, and then you're like, my skin's freaking out. What's happening?
I put it on 5 nights in a row. I looked like a lizard. It was horrible.
You look like Magda from There's Something About Mary.
I mean, it was horrible. I looked like he had been in the sun for 8 months.
When it comes to retinols, I always recommend starting out twice a week, and you mix equal parts moisturizer with equal parts retinol. So you're wanting to do like pea size and pea size, mix it together, and you can either do it just on your forehead, just around your eyes. Some people want to do it all over. It's kind of to each their very own, whatever you want. But definitely, I say first 2 weeks, equal parts.
Seriously, guys, listen.
And then just slowly back off. And I'd say after 2 weeks, I'd say go to 3 times a week. I don't think people should ever be putting it on their face every single night. I think
agree.
that it's because that's an antioxidant. It's really high antioxidant, but it's also speeding up that cell regeneration process. So if you're doing it every single night, yeah, your skin's getting flaky because it's like overproduction of new skin cells. But if you're doing it properly and you're doing all that, sometimes I've seen people that have been doing it so much that I can like see the veins on their forehead because they've just gotten rid of all their dead skin cells and they've just like, there's nothing there anymore.
Oh,
so doing it and introducing it properly, but it's also important to take breaks. So doing it I say like when you're done with a bottle, wait like a month, give it like a month break and then going back again. And then the good thing is about that, because you're reintroducing it, you get those same good results all over again.
That is such good tips. Those are such good tips.
And that's a big thing also with like when you're using like really high potent products like retinols, retinases, which those are it's similar to retinol, but it has retin A and the vitamin A in there, which can be a little bit more aggressive. And most of the time retin A is going to be prescribed to you. So retinols, you can usually get an over-the-counter version of that, but retinases are much more powerful.
Got it.
But anything like that, you want to take breaks. Or if you're finding a product that you really like, take a break and use something kind of similar, because then if you keep using the same, let's say you've used the same serum for 2 years and you're like, I'm not seeing the magic anymore. It's because your skin's used to it.
Yeah.
It's because your skin is.
I mean, it's like anything. It's like with diet. It's like with.
If you're doing the same leg workout every twice a week, then you're not going to continue to see results because your skin's not seeing the change anymore. Amazing. But then from that retinol, I'll usually do some type of like a face oil, like anything that's like, I love anything with like, I'm a big fan of antioxidants. So anything that has like that pomegranate, that cranberry, anything raspberry, anything that's really high in antioxidants is going to be great for that. And then just really ending with a good, very thick moisturizer. And also a good thing to always remember is when you're doing your regimens to be going from that hairline all the way down to your décolleté area,
which is like your tits.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you could
forehead
definitely
to
keep
tits.
going if you wanted to get your tits. You could.
Like,
I do.
Get into it. I was like, I don't have a lot of like stuff happening up here. So
one thing you'll notice a lot when women are getting older is that you're noticing like their face looks great, but their neck and their chest. And then with that, you're going to want to be doing the same thing you're doing on your face, on your chest. I had a friend the other day. She's like, "What do I do about these chest? What do I do about these chest lines?" I'm saying, "Well, do you carry your skincare line down?" No, I stop it. I stop like mid neck.
Bring it down to your tits.
All the way down. Bring it down to your tits.
Love it. I can't take credit for that. I heard Lauren Everett talk about it, and I was like, "This is brilliant."
Lauren Everett, if you're listening,
she's probably listening. I'm gonna send this to her.
Girl can dream. She's another person that talks a lot more about facial manipulation.
Yeah, she does.
She's huge in lymphatic drainage, huge in facial manipulation. Yeah. She's the one, like, you see her, like, rolling constantly. She's rolling her baby. Like
all the time. And I love that so much. And that's why I started recognizing, like, the puffs. I was like, oh, I can get rid of these. This is going to be great. Well, thank you so much for being here. You are hilarious and lighthearted, and this is easy and you're fun. And I can't wait to get a facial from you again.
Yes, I would love it.
I'm going to put all of your information in the show notes, but where can everybody find you and your new biz?
So you can find me. My personal Instagram is KTCruzR. And that's my personal one. So that's usually just like my husband, my baby. Well, not a lot of my husband, but mostly my kid. She's really cute.
You have a hot family.
And then my professional one is the Jade Studio, that's the name of I recently opened my own skincare studio. It's inside of Connection Health Center. It's the best. The Connection Health Center is great, but my studio, you can find me there. It's on Instagram. And Instagram, you can find all my stuff. You can find my booking and everything in there as well. And you have my phone number there as well. So you can always DM me with questions if you want anything at all.
Amazing. And she's downtown Charleston, guys, and she is worth the drive if you're in West Ashley or if you're in Mount Pleasant. She's amazing. So thank you so much, and we will have you on again, and we'll do an IGTV live with all the facial massage.
We should just do an IGTV live giving a facial.
Done. Don't need to convince me. All right. Thank you. I hope you absolutely loved that episode with Katie and got so much value out of it. We are doing a giveaway. Remember, all you have to do is follow both of us on social media on Instagram and leave a review on iTunes for the podcast, letting us know your favorite part of this episode. And you will win some of Katie's amazing products. We have an exfoliator, we have a moisturizer. You do not have to be local to the Charleston area. We can ship to you, so everyone is able to win. It is is September 16th today. We're going to keep this open for another week and a half, and then we will select our winner from iTunes. Make sure you are screenshotting your review after you write it so that we know you've written it. We're so excited for this. Again, make sure you follow the Jade Studio on Instagram as well as Hotter Than Health podcast. Leave a review on iTunes. I will leave a link in the show notes so that you can do so easily and enter to win these amazing products. I'm so excited for this giveaway. It's going to be amazing. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and we will talk to you next week.